Welcome to our session today. Anthology boosts contact center efficiency with AI. If you are here, you are likely interested in delivering great customer experiences or great customer service. Just to get the blood flowing a little bit, quick raise of hands. How many of you are leaders of a customer experience or a customer service organization? I expected that, most of you. How many of you make technology decisions for a customer service organization? Seems like pretty much the same group again. How many of you manage teams of human agents? Okay, slightly smaller population there. Thank you. Helps me get to know you guys a little bit better. All right, well, I'm Sandeep Rao. I'm a senior go-to-market specialist with Amazon Connect, our contact center as a service offering. I've spent the last 6 years bringing voice conversational AI solutions to market. 2 years with Amazon Alexa and 4 years with Amazon Connect. Joining me for a discussion today are Richa Batra, a senior vice president at Anthology, and Kathy Huffstetler, an AWS senior solutions architect. They'll be joining me on stage for a panel in about 10 minutes. But before we do that, we're going to talk a little bit about Amazon Connect, give you a little bit of an introduction for those of you who are unfamiliar. So at Amazon, being customer obsessed is in our DNA, and our mission is to be Earth's most customer-centric company. This same spirit is why we developed Amazon Connect, to bring the power of the cloud to contact centers. And this started a few years ago. The Amazon.com customer service team was facing new challenges, and they needed a way to solve those challenges, and our decision was, should we buy this technology? Nope, we're just going to build it ourselves. Now, what makes great customer experience? In our experience talking to dozens of executives, hundreds of executives, there are 3 things that we look to deliver: responsiveness and adaptivity. This means obviously giving immediate help when customers need it, but evolving to meet their needs as they change. Proactivity and continuity. A customer service interaction does not occur in isolation. Customers want to remember all of their interactions, and they want you to know their needs before they do. And finally, understanding and personalization. Customers want a relationship with their organization. They don't want generic answers and generic recommendations. They want answers and recommendations that are tailored to their specific situation. These same executives have told us the challenges of delivering a great customer experience. The first, complexity. This creates organizational paralysis. The second is inflexibility. This keeps businesses stuck. If the market changes, they can't adapt. And the third is status quo. And this is the one that we deal with the most, right? Maybe what you're doing today is good enough, but good enough leads to organizations falling behind. But that doesn't have to be the way. We're helping customers move forward into a new world and achieve the business outcomes that they want. Our top goal is to drive efficiency. And this is through technology consolidation, as well as bringing AI to every single interaction. Now, with efficiency, customers are also looking to keep costs the same or lower. And we do this, and I think this is one of our major innovations, is we have a usage-based pricing model, so that if your interaction volumes go up, you pay more. If your interaction volumes go down, you pay less. And finally, they want to reinvest those cost savings into new innovations and new technology. And that's another great feature of Amazon Connect. We're constantly innovating. We're constantly bringing new features to market. And I'm going to talk about a few of those features today before we start the panel. You guys maybe have seen this slide before. I'll run through this one quickly. This is just a few dozen organizations that use Amazon Connect. Some of my customers here, like Delta and Dish Network, and they're just examples of the tens of thousands of organizations that use Amazon Connect today. And we power more than 15 million contact center interactions. All these customers depend on us to support their most important customer interactions, and they're looking to us to transform their customer experience. Now this is an important slide. I think this slide really shows the pace of innovation of Amazon Connect. In 2017, when we started, we were just a disruptor in this space. If you guys know the Gartner Magic Quadrant, disruptor. After that, we moved into the visionary category. In the last 3 years, we have been a leader in the contact center as a service space. And we started just with voice capabilities. In the last 8 years, we've added more channels. We have added human agent capabilities. We've added analytics. And we've also added artificial intelligence. And now artificial intelligence powers every single part of our solution. And it's positioned us well for the next wave of evolution in the contact center space. Okay, I'm going to talk to you guys about a few of our launches here. Hopefully you've heard of them, but if not, we'll talk more here. At Amazon Connect, we want to help orchestrate all types of interactions, blending agentic AI, deterministic AI, and human agent capabilities. And there's a few important characteristics to note. First is you don't need to be all human capabilities. You don't need to be all agentic AI. We allow you to choose how much of each you want to bring to the table. The second thing is that the same infrastructure is used across these types of experiences. The same tech to build, the same tech to deploy, the same tech to measure. And finally, we give you choice. So if you want to use our artificial intelligence solutions, you can choose the models that you want. So these are some of our launches that we had here at re:Invent this year. I'm going to talk about two categories of launches. The first is action with AI. AI is acting autonomously with predefined limits. And there's a sort of a set of launches that we'll discuss here. The second bullet here, we launched first-party agents. These are pre-built AI agents for core contact center use cases. We also launched next to that support for third-party AI agents. This means integrations with third-party AI agents. Finally, we brought to the table more human-like, natural-sounding voices. This is a really important innovation, and these voices understand and enable more fluid conversations. The second category of launches we had this week, or the second one we'll talk about today, are the accelerating outcome launches. And this is around observability and analytics. Observability and analytics are super important, right? It's easy to run a pilot, but how do you go from pilot to production? And that's where these launches come in. The first launch is simply just to see how your AI agents are being used and how they're performing. The second launch are performance evaluations. We've already had that available for human agents. We're now making that experience available for self-service and for AI agents. And the third one is workflow and CX testing and simulation. Now you can see how all your agents are performing before they go live. Again, all helping customers go from pilot to production. All right, well, thank you for sticking with me through that part of the presentation. I'd now like to bring to the stage Richa and Kathy so we can begin the panel portion of the comments. Please join me.
Clicker. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, let me take out my questions here. So, Richa, welcome.
Thank you.
Kathy, welcome.
Thank you.
So, Richa, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your role with Anthology?
Absolutely. Anthology is an education technology company. We do everything in higher ed, from learning management system to back office operations to student success. And I run the student success division. We have over 1,000 employees, and we work on student support. And I've been at the organization for 15 years. I've run our contact centers, and now I run our business.
Awesome. Thank you, Richa. Kathy, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your role with Anthology?
Certainly. My name is Kathy Hofstetler, and I'm a Senior Solutions Architect at AWS. I've been partnering with Anthology for the past 3 years now, serving as their technical advisor, specifically on their student success transformation to Amazon Connect. My role has been to help the team architect and implement cloud-based solutions to enhance their student engagement capabilities.
Great, thank you, Kathy. And by the way, we're going to be having discussion here, but you'll also see some slides that support parts of our conversation. Okay, so Richa, let's just start off with, what is Anthology's mission?
So the Student Success Division, we support students outside the classroom. We primarily support higher education. We're in essence a BPO for education, and we support student experiences 8 million inbound and outbound per year. And our mission is to be able to increase enrollment and student retention on behalf of institutions. And so, over the years, being a student has become much more complicated. It's much more difficult to navigate through college systems, whether it's financial aid or admissions. And I can empathize. I'm a first-generation college student, so understanding how to be a student and how to navigate those processes and stay on track is really difficult. And we're finding more students are having challenges with that. And that's where our support and our mission really is. How do we support these students throughout these journeys using a combination of our technology and our people to do that?
Thank you. That was a powerful anecdote. So maybe you can tell the audience a little bit about how Anthology engages with students today.
When I started, we were a contact center, traditional contact center. We did 24/7 support for Blackboard, the learning management system. And that's how we started. And over the years, the institutions that we supported wanted to leverage our capabilities to do more because they didn't have the scale. So then we started doing financial aid, admissions, everything an institution needs outside the classroom. And so we have evolved over the years, and our model has really been in place where we hire human agents to take inbound and outbound calls to support students. And we went live with Connect in July at the beginning of our back to school period. And so our new model is every interaction starts with voice and chat powered through Connect. And then we have humans behind that to be able to support students for more complex questions that need to be resolved.
Great. Now you're obviously up here because you've undergone a transformation
Yes.
in your contact center.
Yes.
Can you maybe tell the audience, like, what were the drivers of that transformation and how does that fit with your vision?
Absolutely. And many of you, I'm sure, are thinking about this or have gone through it yourself. It has taken us over 5 years. This whole concept started well before AI did. And so about 5 years ago, our objective was how do we take our homegrown CRM that we built on our own and our on-premise contact center infrastructure, our IVR, and how do we move it to the cloud? That was the vision, that was the objective, and then it evolved into how do we make sure we have more reliable technology. We have a medium-sized contact center, but very large for education. How do we make sure we have the uptime, we have the reliability for not only our employees, but for our users and our clients? And then it turned into, well, how can we leverage this to automate and scale? We handle so many interactions. We know exactly who's going to call in at what time of the year, and what those questions are. So can we start leveraging technology to do that? And it really was when AI became real enough for our vision to change to be able to say, we can actually leverage technology to transform our business model. It went from being very iterative to transformative, and that's, I think, when things started to shift for us.
Great. I mean, 5 years, that's a long journey.
I know. I think people say I'm very persistent. I don't know. There may be some other words that can be used as well.
Terrific. So how are you looking to evolve the student engagement model, and why was now the right time to do it?
I think one of the additional goals is, since we have such a seasonality to our business and in education, there's a huge spike over the summer, July, August, and September, when students are going back to school, and then also in January. And many of you, if you work in other industries where there's a high seasonality, we basically, for a large part of the year, stopped everything that we're doing, and we focused on almost getting through the back to school summer. And it was very disruptive to innovation. It was more so, let's get through this. And so that was one of the objectives, was how do we reduce our reliance on doubling in size? So if we have a staff of 1,000 today, we hire over 1,000 every summer to be able to support student inquiries. So that was one of them. And it wasn't just a cost-cutting thought or cost-cutting measure. It was more so, how do we think about the student and what that experience would be like if we reduce the need to hire so many new people? And then from there, as I've mentioned, we know exactly what those top questions are. We can really say it's 20. They're more than that, but they're 20 repeatable questions. How can we leverage technology to be able to answer those in alternative ways for users and make sure that they're handled consistently for those repeatable questions? And then we can leverage our teams that know financial aid really well or admissions really well and coach that student through that process. And you may experience this as well. We still have our top question as how do I reset my password or how do I log in? And for someone who runs the contact centers in our organization, I'm always very sheepish to actually submit a ticket to have my password reset. But it happened on the way here. It happens to all of us. And so how do we make that experience frictionless for the user? Because students today have so many things going on, just like all of your users do, but that password reset may be the difference of saying, you know what, I give up, I'm going to take a break from this class, and it may be more difficult for them to return later.
Great. So you mentioned a few business outcomes, I believe, in that last question, but maybe you can help us understand what are the key KPIs that you were looking for in this kind of change?
I mean, this is a very measured business. I mean, many of you, we measure everything in 15-minute increments. So when we started this initiative, we wanted to make sure we were clear on our objectives. One was having compliant technology. We're working with student data. So we wanted to make sure that from our own organization, as well as the institutions that we support, that we had compliant technology to do that. The seasonal hiring was another one. We thought a success measurement would be after the launch, if we can reduce our reliance on seasonal hiring, not eliminate it, but just reduce it, that would start changing the dynamic of the business and how we can think differently. And another one that many contact center leaders work through, and a key KPI is what was the wait time? Chat, voice, average speed to answer is something we all talk about. So that was another objective. And then productivity, handle time. These are measurements that we all look at on an hourly, daily basis. And if these were some of the things that we could see succeed after the implementation, that's what we were really focused on.
Got it. So you mentioned 5 years
Yes.
from beginning of initiative to now. Can you tell us how this initiative was received by your organization?
It wasn't approved until last August. So over the years, we've had so many stakeholders, but I presented this business case to 3 different CEOs, 3 CFOs, 3 different boards. So obviously there was a lot of change within our organization, but those are key stakeholders, as well as my own organization and my team. Running a traditional contact center team, you have a lot of people involved in this process, as well as the institutions that we support. So a lot of key stakeholders. It did not get approved because, and now I have some time to reflect on why, but it was always presented as a lift and shift. And so every time we went through it, while the slides may have changed or our recommendations changed, it always started with, we're going to move from our homegrown CRM and our traditional contact center infrastructure, and we're going to move to the cloud, or we're going to leverage automation. And it really wasn't until we started thinking about it a little bit differently and had those change management conversations with our team of, this is resetting the vision and transforming the business. This is not a lift and shift, that I think we were able to get a little bit more collaboration internally and externally and from the leadership teams to be able to do that. But certainly was a change curve and for all of us to work through it. I think when people hear AI, they automatically think, especially I think in the contact center space as well, my job may be eliminated, my job may look different. And it really is thinking about it of what can we do that we can't do today to leverage technology.
Great, and I think there's an important point in there. Maybe people treat a change in technology as an opportunity to just lift and shift, but this really is an opportunity to look at ways to transform or modernize your contact center if you're going to make that big of a change anyway. All right, so you wanted a cloud-based AI-first strategy. Let's talk about what alternatives you considered to achieve that.
Absolutely. We went through this many different iterations of it, and we looked at traditional models and we went through the requirements. I actually can think back at what that spreadsheet looked like of what are the features and the functions of what our technology does today, what are our requirements, and as we were looking at CRM as well as IVRs, what do the other providers have? And it was very similar to what we did. Traditional contact center models as well as traditional pricing. So those things were continuing to be the factors, but we also looked at, do we build this in-house? And so years ago, when the conversation about chatbots started, so about 7 years ago, we decided we built our own. And we really didn't have the development velocity to be able to do anything beyond building a very static chatbot that was going to return a series of answers, but more than likely going to pass you on to a live agent. And so since we knew that was our experience, that our philosophy was we're just going to keep the lights on with technology, we really needed to think about it differently. And so the other models of looking at CCaaS kept us in that same model of how we were pricing things or how things cost for us and how we were delivering a traditional contact center experience.
Okay, great. Now I know you started to look at AWS, you started to look at Amazon Connect.
Yes.
How did you begin that journey?
The last time this was not approved, so I'm going to go back 1.5 years, our current CEO came to me and said, why don't you look at AWS? He had worked with AWS for years at previous companies, and he said, why don't you have a conversation with them? So we did, and I think once we started looking at Connect, I think it made it really clear that this was not going to be a lift and shift. Like if we looked at our spreadsheet of the features and functionalities, it wasn't that conversation. And I think, when we first started having the discussions with AWS, it helped us actually change our thinking as opposed to we need these X features. It was more so, what is the student experience, and thinking about the user and the student at the center of that journey, and that really shifted us and our thinking. And AI was just not available when we started this conversation. Like if our goal was how do we move to the cloud, AI wasn't an option. So we didn't have that ability to think in that way. So I think the first conversation with AWS, our AI fluency grew. I think the technology absolutely has immensely, the speed of iteration. And so I think AWS came to us to be able to really handle a complex solution in a really simple way and helped us navigate through that.
Terrific. It's really interesting to hear about your journey evolving over
Yes.
the course of this period that you were deciding your options.
Yes.
Now, Kathy, thank you for waiting patiently, but this is where you come in. So tell us, as a senior solutions architect, what were your goals when you first engaged with Richa and Anthology?
So my initial focus was in understanding Anthology's vision for transforming student engagement. And their commitment to enhancing student experiences through technology aligned perfectly with AWS's working backwards approach. So I collaborated with Amazon Connect specialists to help demonstrate how cloud-based contact center capabilities, such as AI and automation, could help support their student engagement vision, in addition to meeting their long-term goals.
That makes sense. And I know there's always this desire to begin solution building when you start out on a new project with a customer. But what steps did you take to help refine the scope of this initiative and make sure it was the right fit?
So while it's tempting to always jump straight into technical solutioning, we approached this methodically. We did discovery workshops to understand their current architecture at their contact center. We wanted to understand their current operational metrics and their desired future state. We also worked with their team analyzing the student call center data patterns as well as the insights. And we did this in a methodical implementation strategy approach. This helped us balance quick wins with their long-term transformation goals.
Terrific. So Richa, back to you. Can you walk us through the choice you made? Why did you find Amazon Connect to be a differentiating option?
To add on to what Kathy said, I think first and foremost, when we met with AWS, it allowed us to change our thinking from a lift and shift. I also, when the team came, it was not about here is the solution. It was really thinking about what our mission was, what our goals were. Our values very much aligned there as well. And I think one in particular, we consider ourselves student obsessed. We're always talking about students. We think about ourselves as students previously. We go on campus to see what students are like today. And it was very clear the AWS team was customer obsessed. So I think the values very much aligned there. And also our urgency. Moving from a completely new contact center infrastructure and to go live before our biggest peak period, I know it was an aggressive time frame, but I think the team knew exactly what we needed to do and pulled in all the resources and helped us navigate through that. And so I think they matched the urgency along with us, and they were with us. Like, I knew how much was on the line for us to go live for July 1, and they were there every step of the way. And I think, I'll call out Kathy and that whole team, but very much, I don't feel like I'm alone. Like, there's not a problem Kathy's not going to pull the resources in for. And it's not just about saying, here, I check the box, here's a solution, but really thinking through it. And I'll give you an example. Since we went live a few months ago, one of the goals were, what does our containment rate look like? Like, how do we think about the student experience? What is going to be handled through AI? And when we were looking at that, I think Kathy helped us navigate that to say, well, let's look at your data before, let's look at it now, and let's look at what the student experience and the journey is like. So it's much more collaborative, and I think about it as an iterative process to help achieve our goals.
That makes sense. I love that you said you are student obsessed.
Yes.
And that mission aligns with Amazon trying to be customer obsessed. It's really nice to hear the matching of visions there. So Amazon Connect has a lot of capabilities, right, Kathy? How did you build a custom launch plan? How did you decide what to do first?
So our launch plan, we focused on 3 key principles. We wanted to minimize risk, we wanted to maximize impact, and we wanted to ensure adoption. So we started with the core capabilities implementing for Amazon Connect. Then we progressively introduced AI, such as Contact Lens. And we started, with that, we were able to do student self-serve, agent assist, as well as interaction insights. So we maintain close alignment with Rich's team, and we use success metrics to make sure we delivered value and we're meeting their KPIs.
Great. And what resources did you bring to bear, did you facilitate to help Anthology with this?
So we formed a one-team approach. We started with Amazon Connect specialists, like I mentioned before, and they did some technical deep dives. We also brought in AWS professional services and a partner to deliver an agile delivery framework. And we actually brought in the Amazon Connect service team, all working as one team to help transform their student success vision. So this collaborative approach, I believe, did help Anthology with their vision for student engagement, turning it from a vision into reality.
That's great, and it's important to note there are many layers of support with Amazon Connect, right? You have the account teams like Kathy who are there to help, but there's also the service team, the go-to-market teams. We have free resources to help you get started. We have paid resources that help you finally deploy to production. So there's a lot that we can bring to bear to help organizations as they're making this journey themselves. Okay, we've buried the lead long enough. Can you tell us how it's going so far? Are there any measurables that you can share with the audience?
Yes, we are very measured in the before and after, but we're incredibly pleased. This is something that I've been trying to push for over 5 years, so I had a lot of conviction this is something we should do. I'm very attached to it. I wanted to make sure we were delivering for the institutions and students that we support. So with this much change within an organization, it went incredibly well. Like July 1, peak period, we took calls. There was no break from doing what we needed to do. And the fact that there was no downtime, we flipped a switch and we were ready, went incredibly well. So I'll share a couple of metrics. There were some that we talked about were the objectives of moving forward with new technology, and some were unplanned and like bonus highlights of what we've seen so far. But wait times, and we certainly, I spend time over the summer and back to school hearing feedback from our clients and our users saying, I waited, X period of time, and I really needed this financial aid question because I can't register for classes without it. We've reduced our wait times by 50% during our busiest month of the year. And we have not had one escalation since we've gone live on what those wait times are. So, that is something that we spent so much time trying to address, and that problem since July has been eliminated. One thing that wasn't necessarily a documented goal, but when we were, working with the ProServe team, was we are looking for over 90% accuracy for go live from UAT. And what we've actually seen with human agents, now with virtual agents, we're seeing 14-point increase on accuracy. So this is something that's only going to evolve and get better. And I think about all the conversations we had prior to that is if an agent answered something incorrectly before, you would go through the steps of, I'm going to coach the agent, I'm going to do retraining, but it's not always consistently done, especially when you're onboarding the amount of people that we do. And the fact that we've already seen 14 points, we're only going to optimize this even further. So those are two. And then another one, any of you that are hiring agents, attrition. The amount of time we spend on training new hires, working, understanding the education system, understanding what tools to use. The fact that we were able to reduce attrition by 10% just by going live, those are things that we're already looking at for our January back to school to say, let's look at the training again. Let's look at the onboarding. Can this number be reduced to a point where we're keeping our steady state employees and we don't have these high seasonal peaks? And that would improve the experience and the consistency that our users are getting as well. And then, as I mentioned earlier on, compliance, reliability, those were some of the original reasons we wanted to move to new technology. And, every summer I'm like looking at these, thinking about these numbers, but every back to school, we would have 12 unplanned outages in our busiest months of July, August, and September because of the load. And this back to school, we had 2. And these, again, were on many other applications. These were not AWS related, but like in that period of time from 12 to 2, we can absolutely feel the decrease in disruption because when systems are down, everything stopped, and we had failover plans that were very manual to be able to handle that. And these are such difficult things to be able to manage in a transformation. The fact that we were able to see these quick wins has allowed us to think forward to say, okay, how do we optimize beyond this? We're getting beyond the baseline of what we even expected. How can we even think bigger?
That's really great. Thank you. And I love this slide. I love this data, and I can tell, having prepared this presentation with you, how impactful it's been during your peak seasons. I think we have one more question here. This question is really just, what advice would you give to members of this audience who are also evolving their engagement models? What should they think about?
Yes, and I had so many years of going through this business case and trying to present it, but I think as we were going through the implementation, one thing that I did center myself back on is because I'm more on the business side, and I wanted to be able to say, why are we doing this? What are the business goals? Who do we serve? And I always focused on that because it was really easy, I think, for me and my teams to get distracted about the technology and the names of the ML models and everything that was coming out feature function wise. We just really need to always come back to what are the things that we're accountable for, what are our business objectives, and what do we expect? And I think that's one thing that I would encourage everyone to always focus on. And then from there, understand what can the technology do to achieve those goals. I think one of the examples that I used during UAT was we wanted to get over 90% accuracy. The ProServe team actually came back and said, well, we actually have another ML model that we're testing. We recommend that because based off of your business objective, this is going to work better to get you the result. That's what got us to the 14-point increase in the accuracy. So I think it's always really good, imperative for me to be focused on the business goals and tie everything back to that. Also, the change management. We manage large teams of people. Everyone is going to go through the change curve at different pace. Some people are going to be resistant. And I think just making sure that building that process in early on, and I did weekly calls with our clients as well as our teams to be able to say, these are our goals and objectives, this is how we're performing to them, and allowing the time and space for the questions because, I have had so much more time to think about this and digest this information. My teams haven't, or our clients haven't, and I wanted them to be able to hear it directly from me as well. I think a couple of other key ones is originally when we signed up with the team, we were going to go live with everything all at once on the same day, and I thought this was such a good plan. But as we went through it, the thought was, okay, we should actually do this in a series of releases, and that's where we ended up to say we're going to do release 1 on July 1st, we're going to do release 2 on July 22nd. We actually have our 4th release in December, and that's now the framework of how we're going to operate and iterate because we've learned from every one of these, and also features are getting released in between each of our releases, and so that has worked really nicely, and I think that's like the culture that we've developed within our own organization. I think that the last lesson learned that I'll leave everyone here with is if you're working in contact centers, I've been at this one for over 15 years, and there's traditional contact centers can be reactive. You're dealing with people, schedules of people that want to work, agent attrition, handle time, and now that we have the foundation of Connect, I can tell you myself and my entire team, we now have the mind space to be strategic, and I think we're now at a point leveraging AI and Connect that it's going to allow us to be proactive and strategic in a way we did not have the ability to do. And I'm very excited about that, of moving away from the reactive to the proactive.
Well, thank you, and I appreciate those lessons, and hopefully you guys took a lot away from that advice. It looks like we have a bonus question here. I forgot about this one. Okay, so Richa, what's next for your organization?
What I'd like to move forward to in the next year is now we know we have the foundation to be able to handle student inquiries. I would love to get to a place in the next year that we're proactively leveraging the data that we have and reaching out to the student before there's a need for it. And we can use the example of password reset or financial aid application. We know what these points of time are. We know when the semester starts. How do we leverage the data and use what we know about these students and actually proactively reach out to them and say, your financial aid application is due in 60 days. Here are the 3 things that you need to do.
Well, great. This ends the second part of our presentation, which is the panel. We're going to move on to the third part of our presentation.
Yes.
Kathy here is going to walk through a demonstration of this technology live.
Yes. So, well, not live, recorded.
Recorded
demos.
But live for you guys.
Yes. Thank you, Sandy.
Yeah.
So before we get started, I'm going to show you a few clips of demos here, but I want to give you some background context, how Amazon Connect is used by different personas. So in the first demo that you're going to see next here is going to be from the persona of the student using Amazon Connect. And in this case, we're going to have the student Millard, who is confused about financial aid, and Millard's calling about the status of her refund. Okay? We're going to have another demo following that, and this is going to be from the persona of the agent. And in this case, the agent, he's Herbert. He's new to call center customer service. It happens to be his first day answering calls and chats, and he doesn't have a lot of comprehensive knowledge about financial aid. So in the last, we're also going to see Amazon Connect through the persona of the supervisor. And in this use case, it's going to be Adam. Now, Adam is a tenured supervisor, and he oversees the daily interaction with the calls with the student and the agent, and he's also responsible for the quality assurance of training those agents. So let's dive in and see these demos. Okay, this is going to be the first demo clip. These are silent. I'm going to walk you through them. So before we get started with this demo, I just want to let you know that this is going to be the interaction with the persona from the student's perspective. So here we go. Okay, so you can see here the AI assistant greets the student and provides an outline of the services and capabilities it provides. The student types in the chat, "Where's my refund?" Now, before the AI assistant will provide this information, it does some verification and validation of the student by asking the student their ID as well as the last 4 digits of their social security number. Now, once the student provides this information, and there they are, they're providing it now, the system is going to provide the detailed response, which is a refund was provided of $800 in the fall of 2025. Now, the student here has not received this refund, so the student's going to ask to speak with a live agent. What's notable here is the natural language flow between the AI assistant and the student. So let's take a look at the next demo. Now, this demo is from Amazon Connect in action from the agent's perspective. So if you remember, this is Herbert. It's his first day. Doesn't have a lot of background, no experience with call center customer service. First day handling this, and he has lack of knowledge with financial aid.
You know, Kathy, what I'll add to this is when we were training to go live, I set myself up as an agent to take interactions because it was so important to me that if I'm telling everyone we're moving to new tech, that it needed to be, I mean, my point was it's going to be so easy, I can handle the call, and I've recorded it, and that's what we sent out for the onboarding video for all of our agents.
Okay, so I'm going to play this demo here, and what you're going to see here is a seamless continuation of the interaction going from the AI assistant to the live agent Herbert. And so Herbert greets the student, and the AI interaction is summarized. So Herbert doesn't have to ask the same questions over again. He has that background context. He knows why they're calling and what they need. He leverages step-by-step guides on the refund to find out what the status is. He follows the steps, and he looks and he sees that the refund was processed, and it was by paper check, and it was over 20 days ago. So he receives AI assistance guidance in what to do and how to provide this information to the student, which essentially the student needs to call Bank Mobile, a phone number, and to ask for their check to be reissued because it was a paper check and it was over 21 days ago. So it must have got lost in the mail or something like that. Okay. And you can just see here the demo is still running a little bit more where he's looking at, that's the AI assist there on the right, Queue and Connect. It's providing this information to the agent based on their conversation. So he doesn't have to go research all this and pull information. It's really, really nice here, very efficient. And then he can go give that information to the student. Here you go, please call Bank Mobile, here's the phone number.
Maybe one thing I'll add here is that the Connect AI agent that was used in the beginning, that same infrastructure of building an AI agent is leveraged to assist the human agent in this scenario, right? So we're talking about the same tech being used to develop AI agents for self-service as it is AI agents for human agent assistance on the right-hand panel.
Here.
I don't know what happened to the
Screen
screen.
went out.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
There we go.
Screen's back. All right, so now that that's been handled, we're going to look at this demo, and this is going to be from the persona of the supervisor, Adam. So what you're seeing here, I'll go ahead and play this one, is on the left-hand side of the screen, you're going to see the metadata where it has the information of what time the call was, the duration, who the agent was. along with on the right-hand side of it, you're going to see Amazon Connect's AI summarization capability. Now, what's really nice here is previously, supervisors would have to listen to this, the call recordings or review the chats, and they would do this manually and it would be very, very time consuming. But now, with Amazon Connect and AI, the summarization is provided for the supervisor, so it's a little bit more efficient. You can see here it summarized the reason for the call and how it was resolved by the agent. So,
I mean, Kathy, what I will add, and I think you've probably heard this in other sessions or have experienced it yourself, our aspiration was to be able to review 1% of all the interactions before. I mean, now with the efficiency of being able to do this, we're able to actually proactively and reactively troubleshoot any client-specific items or trends that we're seeing.
So you've gone from 1% to how many percent?
We can do 100% now, and you can set up rules in Contact Lens to be able to say, I want to be able to address the verification process, and it's now able to send us a report, and we can address that, I mean, almost in real time.
A couple more demos for you. So continuing on here, this is also going to be from the supervisor's perspective, but this demo is going to show you actually the sentiment analysis. So from that conversation, in addition to the summarization, you're going to see the sentiment analysis here, where it has between the agent and the customer, and what first turned out as concern and distress from the customer about their refund, then turned around when they were provided a solution by the agent. It has the analysis there in addition to the transcript. So the supervisor has all this insight if they'd like to go back and particularly review this for training purposes, quality management, it's there. Okay. I think it's done running. Okay, here we're going to see automated evaluation of the agents. So as Richard was mentioning, in your traditional contact centers, maybe 1% of the agents will be evaluated. With Amazon Connect, with AI, you can do 100% automated agent evaluations using what you have here with the sentiment analysis and these questions that you can help with prompts. And that's what it's showing right here is the agent evaluation. It's very automated. And Richard, did you want to add anything additional here?
I think the scale that it's allowed us to bring, I mean, one of the real examples that came up this summer, you may have even seen it in the news, a lot of institutions were being targeted by threats. We also, because we were supporting institutions, had those interactions through chat and voice, and we were able to use Contact Lens to be able to understand how that was happening, the pattern, and we were able to get it to local authorities within hours. That would have taken us manual work of weeks to do that.
Yes. And that's the other thing here. It adds the saving you something that was done manually before, going from 1% to 100%, going from hundreds of hours to minutes to be able to have the manager review what the AI findings here. All right, so I've got one more demo. Now this one looks kind of similar, but this is a hybrid evaluation. So this is a combination of AI and the human working together. So in this case, if the supervisor would like to add their own observations or modify the scorecard, they have the ability to do so. And this provides the best of both worlds, allowing both AI and the human expertise to work together for this hybrid evaluation. Again, it's leveraging the AI findings. They can review it, they can modify it, they can tweak the scorecard if they want to do so. So what I've shown here is a series of demos where AI can support the student through self-service with an AI assistant. It can support the agent with knowledge base articles and agent assist, as well as support the supervisor with insightful data, automated performance evaluations that are 100% automated or hybrid automated. These are just a few of the capabilities that I've demoed here.
Terrific. Well, I think that is the end of our demonstrations, right, Kathy? Is there anything else?
That is it.
Well, thank you first, Richa, for joining us today, and thank you, Kathy, for walking us through the demonstration. There are a couple of other really interesting customer experience sessions that you may want to attend tomorrow. The first one is BIZ212, Redefining Service Excellence, Canada Life's AI-powered contact center. Another one tomorrow, BIZ218, UC San Diego Health, modernizes patient engagement with Amazon Connect. Both happening here at the Wynn. Also, do visit us in the expo hall, the AWS Village booth, number A13. We'd love to talk to you and see you more. If you have any questions for us based on today's presentation, we'll stand in the back for another 10 minutes or so and answer your questions. Otherwise, thank you so much for spending your time today, and have a great rest of your reInvent.
Thank you.